The country mouse visits the park. There was a country mouse who had recently bought a small car. He used to drive it around the countryside, exploring and having fun. One day, he overheard a group of squirrels discussing how beautiful the city park was. They mentioned rows of tall trees, colorful flowers, bustling crowds, enchanting music, and delicious cakes and drinks. This piqued the country mouse's curiosity, and he decided to visit the city park. So, the country mouse hopped into his car and drove into the city. The city overwhelmed him with its fast-moving cars, people crossing the streets, incessant honking, and various road signs. The country mouse wondered, which road should I take to get to the park? Feeling a bit lost, he chose a path at random and began his journey towards the park. As he entered an intersection, a traffic officer stopped him and said, "Excuse me, you've violated traffic regulations. This road is off limits for cars. You should pay a fine of $5. The country mouse paid the fine and retraced his path to find another way to the park. He thought to himself, I'll just take any road. I hope it leads me to the park. Not long after, he was pulled over again, this time for running a red light. Another $5 fine. Continuing on, he saw another unfamiliar road sign and muttered, "What does this sign mean? Oh, it's telling people not to bring small-sized items. Luckily, I didn't bring any." Undeterred, he proceeded until he was once again stopped, this time for honking the horn in a no-honking zone, resulting in another fine. Throughout his journey, the country mouse was continuously fined by traffic officers for not understanding the city's numerous road signs. By the time he reached the park's entrance, he had lost all his money to the fines and couldn't afford the park entrance fee. The country mouse lamented, "Oh, the city has so many rules, and I don't know them. I kept getting fined on the roads, and now I don't have any money to enter the park." A park administrator overheard his complaints and explained, "In the city, these rules and road signs help people and vehicles move safely and efficiently. They ensure that everyone follows their paths, making travel fast and secure." The country mouse sighed and said, "But I don't know all these rules. I wish someone had explained them to me." The park administrator kindly suggested, "How about we visit the city's kindergarten? The little kids there are quite knowledgeable about these road signs. They can teach you." The country mouse happily agreed, and together they headed to the kindergarten to learn about the city's rules. Moral of the story: sometimes it's essential to understand the rules and signs in a new place to navigate successfully and avoid unnecessary trouble. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The little dog who wanted to be the sun. Grinny was an imaginative little dog who loved daydreaming. He often gazed at the sun and shared his thoughts with it. One day, Grinny said to the sun, "I want to become you, and I believe I can replace you." The sun agreed to his request. Little dog Grinny truly transformed into the sun. He radiated light with all his might, making people sweat and feel the heat. Just as he was content with his newfound role, a dark cloud covered the sun. Grinny angrily declared, "I want to become a cloud." Grinny then transformed into a cloud, blanketing the sky in darkness. Just as he was feeling proud, a strong wind blew by and dispersed the cloud. Grinny shouted, "I don't want to be a cloud. I want to be the wind." Grinny became the wind, blowing with all his strength, but he couldn't even budge a small pile of dirt. Frustrated, he turned into the dirt pile, which a water buffalo promptly flattened. Feeling the might of the water buffalo, Grinny transformed into a water buffalo. But a mere rope was enough to tether the water buffalo, leading Grinny to become a rope. In no time, Grinny, as the little dog, rushed over and swiftly bit through the rope. Infuriated, he shouted, "I want to be a little dog again." So, Grinny turned back into a little dog. He ran around happily, thinking, Ha ha, being a little dog is the best after all. Why did Grinny want to be the sun? What transformations did Grinny go through in total? In the end, what did Grinny decide to become? What did Grinny believe was the best choice? Welcome to our YouTube channel, Find More Story for Kids. Clever Mouse and Silly Dog. The animals were playing hide and seek, and it was Silly Dog's turn to be it. Clever Mouse turned to Elephant and said, "Can I hide inside your nostril, please?" Elephant's nostril was tickled terribly by Clever Mouse, and he couldn't help but sneeze, blowing Clever Mouse right onto Silly Dog's belly. Silly Dog quickly grabbed Clever Mouse, shouting, "I've got you! I've got you!" But who is this, all fluffy and flat? Clever Mouse tried hard to hold his breath to keep Silly Dog from recognizing him. Everyone burst into laughter and tricked Silly Dog. "That's just a piece of a cloth handkerchief." Silly Dog chuckled and said, "Well, that's perfect. I have a cold. I can use this handkerchief to wipe my nose." Clever Mouse couldn't hold his breath any longer, so he gasped for air, and his flattened body started to expand. Silly Dog found it strange and wondered, "What's going on? Is this a fluffy ball I've caught?" He tossed the fluffy ball around and laughed. "This is so much fun!" Clever Mouse, scared, couldn't help but cry out, "What's that noise?" Silly Dog followed the sound and picked up Clever Mouse, feeling his sore bottom. He pinched him hard. "Ah!" Clever Mouse cried out in pain. "What's that? Can fluffy balls make noises?" Silly Dog pinched him again, thoroughly enjoying himself. Clever Mouse couldn't bear it any longer and had to beg Silly Dog, "It's me, it's me! I'm Clever Mouse." Silly Dog finally removed his blindfold and chuckled, "I knew it was you all along. I just wanted to see how long you could hold out." Ha ha ha! It turns out Silly Dog isn't so silly after all. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Find More Story for Kids. Little Fox Martha, I don't blame you. Martha was an incredibly cute and well-behaved little fox. Martha loved to play with little butterflies in the tall grass. The beautiful butterflies flew low, resembling dancing flowers in the meadow. Lovely Martha would chase, hop, and leap, having a grand old time. Don't play with cunning foxes. Suddenly, Zack the hedgehog appeared. "Why not?" the little butterfly asked Zack. "What does cunning mean?" "I heard my mom say that foxes tricked the crow and took the meat from its mouth," Zack said with pride. "Cunning means tricking." "Really?" the little butterfly asked Martha again. Martha, looking sad, said, "I have never tricked anyone." "You're not tricking now, but you will in the future," Zack said and then walked away. The little butterfly thought for a moment, took Zack's words to heart, and flew away too. "Little butterfly, please don't go," Martha cried in distress. "I'm not a cunning fox. I won't trick anyone." The little butterfly continued to fly away. As it was about to pass a tall thistle, one of its wings got stuck in the thorns, preventing it from flying any further. The little butterfly flapped its remaining wing while crying for help. "Help! Someone, please help me!" Martha saw and heard what was happening, so she quickly ran over to the little butterfly. Before long, the little butterfly could fly again. "Thank you," the little butterfly gratefully said to Martha. "You are the kindest little fox." I shouldn't have believed Zack's words. "Do you blame me?" "I don't blame you," Martha smiled and said, "Everyone makes mistakes from time to time. As long as we can learn from them, we are good kids." Welcome to our YouTube channel, Find More Story for Kids. Little Pig's Wholesome Porridge. Little Pig loved making porridge, And he especially enjoyed the sound of porridge singing in the pot, going gurgle, gurgle. When you pass by my house, please come inside for a bowl of delicious porridge. Little Pig always warmly invited everyone. All right, everyone would happily agree. One morning, Little Pig filled a pot with water and added some corn kernels, then placed it on the stove. Before leaving, Little Pig wrote on the door, "Friends passing by, please have a bowl of porridge." On my return, as long as there's a small bowl of fragrant corn porridge left, it will be enough, thought Little Pig as he walked away. Little Goat passed by, and the aroma of corn drifted through the air. Try some of Little Pig's porridge. Little Goat tasted a bowl of steaming corn porridge and said, "It's delicious, really delicious." Before leaving, Little Goat put a handful of red beans from his pocket into the pot, thinking, "This way, Little Pig won't go hungry." Flower Fox passed by, and the combined aroma of corn and red beans filled the air. Try some of Little Pig's porridge. Flower Fox tasted a bowl of bubbling corn and red bean porridge and said, "It's delicious, really delicious." As she left, Flower Fox put a handful of green peas into the pot and added another bowl of water, saying, "This way, Little Pig won't go hungry." Wild Rabbit passed by, tried a bowl of the porridge, and added a handful of red dates to the pot before leaving. Gray Squirrel passed by, tried a bowl of the porridge, and added a handful of pine nuts to the pot before leaving. The pot of porridge continued to sing its delightful aroma. And one by one, the passing animals came in, tried the porridge, and contributed their own gifts. In the evening, Little Pig returned home. From a distance, he could smell the aroma of corn, red beans, green peas, red dates, pine nuts, and more wafting from the house. "I only made corn porridge. How come there are so many wonderful aromas?" Little Pig wondered. She rushed inside, lifted the pot lid, and there it was. A large pot of steaming, fragrant porridge. Who made this delicious porridge? Little Pig was overjoyed. "This is even more delicious than what I made." Little Pig was grateful for the kindness of his friends and enjoyed a delightful dinner with the heartwarming porridge they had prepared. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. Sammy's quest for fun. Squirrel Sammy felt really bored, with nothing exciting to do. He said, "Mom, I'm so bored. There's nothing to do." His mom replied, "Why don't you go fix all those broken toys, radios, and phones you've collected? You like tinkering with those gadgets, don't you?" "But today, I don't feel like doing that," Sammy said. "Maybe Sophie can help me come up with something fun." Sammy knocked on Sophie's door. Knock, 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 no response. Sophie went to the library, his mom said, to return the books she borrowed last week. She might bring back another stack. "At least she doesn't feel bored," Sammy commented. "You can make your own fun too," his mom suggested. "Why don't you go find Spiky and see if he can play with you?" So, Sammy went to Spiky's house. Hedgehog Spiky was lying on a hammock. "Hey, Spiky, what are you doing?" Sammy asked. "Can't you see?" Spiky replied, "I'm relaxing on my hammock." "I feel so bored," Sammy said. "Can you think of something fun for me to do?" "Sure," Spiky readily agreed. "Come and relax with me on the hammock." "Ugh," Sammy sighed. "Relaxing is even more boring." Spiky suggested, "Well, I don't think so. But since you're feeling bored, why don't you check what Lily is up to?" So, Sammy went to Lily's house. The skunk, Lily, was busy painting in her room. "Hey, Lily, I'm so bored. Can you think of something fun for me to do?" "No problem," Lily said. "You can help me paint a picture of a baby elephant doll, and then we can make a red paper frame together. Or, if you like, you can help me dye my tail." Sammy hesitated. I don't want to paint." "Is there anything else fun to do?" "I can't think of anything else," Lily said. "I find painting most enjoyable." Why don't you check what Cuckoo is doing? So, Sammy went to Cuckoo's house. Little bear Cuckoo was using a magnifying glass, peering intently at something in the bushes. Hey, Cuckoo, what are you doing? Ants, Cuckoo said. I'm observing ants. Cuckoo pulled Sammy down beside him and handed him the magnifying glass. Look down, you can see so many ants. They're really cool. Sammy lifted the magnifying glass and looked. Oh my! I really don't want to see ants. It's giving me goosebumps. Can't you think of something fun for me to do? Cuckoo replied, I can't think of anything else. I'm completely focused on observing ants. How about you go see what Tippy is up to? So, Sammy went to Tippy's house. Rabbit Tippy was practicing his basketball shots on the front path. He passed the ball to Sammy, saying, How about a game of basketball? No, I don't want to play basketball. Can't you think of something fun for me to do? Sammy asked. Tippy dunked the ball with a mighty leap and said, Behold, the great Tippy is here. Slam dunk! Instead of answering, Tippy sprang up high and scored the ball. Sammy sighed, realizing no one seemed to have a fun idea for him. Maybe he would have to go play with Ally, the copycat, after all. So, he headed over to Ally's house. Ally's grandmother was busy painting the porch. Sammy greeted her. Hello, is Ally at home? Ally's voice is a little sore. She's resting in bed. I see, that's unfortunate, Sammy replied. I'm feeling so bored. Grandma, would you like to play with me? Grandma smiled. I'm a bit busy, Sammy. But why don't you make your own fun? You don't have to rely on others to have a good time. Pay attention to what's around you and think carefully. I'm sure you'll find something fun to do. What do you mean, Grandma? Sammy was a little confused. I mean that you need to find interesting things to do by yourself, based on your own interests and hobbies, Grandma explained. Don't wait for others to make you happy. Make your own happiness and explore what's fun for you. Sammy looked around, and he saw white clouds, lush trees, and 3 neat trash cans lined up in the yard, with one of them holding an old radio on top, and wires scattered outside. An idea popped into Sammy's head. Sammy asked Grandma, Do you no longer need that old radio? Grandma replied, No, it's been broken for a long time, so I threw it away. Can I take it? Sammy asked. I love fixing radios. Of course, you can, Ally's grandma said. Sammy picked up the radio and took it home. Then he sat on his bedroom floor, ready to start repairing it. It took him several hours, but he finally fixed the radio before lunchtime. Sammy even decorated it with colorful ribbons and added lots of little stars. He carried it to show Ally. Growth tip. To feel happy, you don't always need others to make you happy. Instead, you can find something enjoyable by exploring your interests and hobbies. This way, you not only experience joy but also learn new things. Sammy walked into Ally's room and showed her the beautiful, fully functioning radio he had repaired. She was amazed at his work, and together they listened to music. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The penguin who loved to dress up. In a land far, far away, there was a peculiar island covered in icy terrain. It snowed heavily every day, and on this island lived many penguins. Have you ever seen a penguin, dear children? You probably saw them on TV. These penguins were dressed in sleek black coats, with their snowy white bellies, and they waddled around in the most charming way. One day, a young penguin named Emma fell ill. She had a terrible headache and a persistent cough. Her dad used snow to soothe her back, and her mom placed ice blocks on her forehead to reduce her fever. However, Emma's condition did not improve. Fortunately, her grandmother came to visit. She brought out a thick, red hat and a beautiful green scarf for Emma, saying, "My dear, you've caught a cold. I've knitted a hat and scarf from wool for you. Wear them, and you'll feel better. Emma put on the hat and wrapped the scarf around her neck. She immediately felt all warm and cozy. In just a few days, her illness had completely disappeared. However, Emma couldn't bear to take off her red hat and green scarf. As soon as she stepped outside, her friends surrounded her. One of them said, "Look how beautiful Emma's hat is." Another one exclaimed, "Oh, Emma's scarf is the loveliest. Emma, where did you get these?" "Yes, tell us, what are they made of?" Emma was overwhelmed with all the questions. It's my grandmother's knitting." "Oh, Grandma said she made them from wool." "Wow, they're so beautiful." Everyone continued to praise Emma, with each friend vying to be the most fashionable. It didn't take long before a large group of penguins gathered outside Emma's grandmother's door. They were all clamoring for her to knit them a hat and scarf. "Oh my, these children!" Emma's grandmother shook her head. All right, kids, stop arguing. If you all like them, I will knit them for you, but slowly." And so, every day, Emma's grandmother knitted hats and scarves. She worked so hard that her back would ache terribly. Once she ran out of wool, she started collecting many colorful seashells from the beach and crafted beautiful necklaces for the little penguins. Some wore red hats and green scarves, while others adorned their necks with these necklaces. They happily swayed, parading around the island, comparing who looked the most beautiful, and none of them wanted to work anymore. When they grew hungry, they rushed to Emma's grandmother's house to ask for fish. As a result, her fish supply dwindled day by day. One day, the little penguins, decked out in their hats, scarves, and necklaces, formed a line and went to Emma's grandmother's house to request some fish. But when they entered the house, it was empty, not a single fish in sight. There was a note on the door that read, "Dear children, I've gone to a faraway island to visit your grandparents. You've all grown up and should catch your own fish. Looking stylish is not enough. To survive, you need to work. This is what makes good children." The little penguins, one by one, lowered their heads, taking off their hats, scarves, and necklaces. They returned to their own homes, working diligently alongside their parents and heading to the seaside to catch fish. Life started to become enjoyable for them. Several months later, Emma's grandmother returned to the island. Emma and the little penguins greeted her at the door with a line. When she entered the house and saw the piles of fish stacked like little mountains, she couldn't believe her eyes. These fish were all caught by the little penguins. Emma's grandmother was overjoyed, and she took out many beautiful little boots from her bag and gave them to the little penguins. The penguins erupted into cheers. They wore their red hats, green scarves, flower necklaces, and little boots and danced gleefully around their grandmother. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. Toto the monkey's kiss. Toto the monkey was quite mischievous and loved to playfully defy his monkey mom. One fine morning, as the wind chimes tinkled softly, Toto woke up, only to find that his blanket couldn't cover him anymore, and his bed had shrunk. He had transformed into an adult. "Mom!" Toto exclaimed, feeling flustered. To his surprise, his monkey mom had turned into a child. Toto was left utterly perplexed. Holding a pillow, his mom grumpily said, "Quick, make me breakfast. You're a grown-up now." Toto reluctantly entered the kitchen, but he had no idea how to cook. "What would you like to eat?" Toto asked, hoping for a hint. "Anything," replied his mom and lay back down on the bed. Thankfully, there was some bread in the refrigerator, so Toto decided to make some toast. His mom grumbled and refused to get out of bed, demanding clothes. In a hurry, Toto helped his mom put on her clothes. His mom then commanded, "Socks. Which pair should I give you?" "The white ones." Toto frantically rummaged through the drawers but couldn't find any white socks. He reluctantly took off his own white socks and helped his mom put them on. His mom, now wearing what looked like knee-high socks, got out of bed and ordered, "Water." "But it needs to be boiled." "Water, water." His mom hopped up and down, appearing incredibly thirsty. Ugh, so annoying. Toto couldn't help but complain under his breath, but then he noticed half a bottle of cold milk. "Have this for now." Toto placed the milk in front of his mom. "Who drinks cold milk from the day before? I don't want to get an upset stomach." His mom protested loudly, clutching her arm. Toto angrily shouted, "I told you to drink it, so drink it." His mom's temper flared, and she knocked over the milk bottle, spilling milk all over the place. Toto felt disheartened. Being an adult is so exhausting. "But you can't tell anyone about the dream from yesterday. You're such a good boy," his mom chuckled. Toto swallowed his mouth-watering fried egg, finished his warm milk, and then walked up to his mom. He tiptoed and planted a loving kiss on his mom's cheek. "Oh, Mom, I love you." Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Smiling Duck. Ducky Dilly often smiled. Sometimes the farmer's dog would chase her into the pond, other times mischievous village kids would throw small stones at her. And sometimes for no reason at all, the turkey would treat her unfairly. But regardless of what happened, Dilly continued to smile. "I can't understand you." One morning, her good friend Jamie asked, "You often run into trouble, yet your face always carries that silly smile." "Yes," Dilly said. "The sky is beautifully blue, isn't it? The pond is a delightful place to swim, so I can never be angry." Jamie said she couldn't think of many reasons for her friend not to smile. "One day, you'll find nothing to smile about. You'll see, we're all going to be sent to the market soon." "Do you know what that means?" Jamie told Dilly. Market day was approaching, and all the ducks became silent and sad, except for Dilly. The day finally arrived, and the farmer and his little son began to herd all the ducks into wooden crates. "Are we sending all of them away?" the child asked. "Please let me keep the duck who loves to smile." The farmer hesitated and then shrugged. "The one who smiles? Which duck are you talking about?" "Let me show you," the child quickly said, walking straight to Dilly and kneeling beside her. "No matter what, she always smiles." "Let her stay," the farmer said, "but you need to take care of her." The child smiled and held Dilly in their arms, gently stroking her. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. Taotao and the Apple Tree. Actually, Taotao's real name wasn't Taotao. It was given that nickname by the forest animal friends because it was always mischievous and playful. One day, on a sunny and bright morning, Taotao's mother asked, "Taotao, Mom wants to plant a tree. What kind of tree do you think we should plant?" Taotao thought for a moment and said with excitement, "Mom, let's plant an apple tree. I love apples, but all the apple trees in the forest are quite far from our home. If we grow our own, we won't have to walk so far to pick them." So, Mom followed Taotao's suggestion and planted an apple seed. Mom asked Taotao to water the seed every day. It wasn't long before the seed sprouted. In no time, it grew several inches tall with several leaves. One day, Mom had to go out, leaving Taotao alone at home. Taotao felt quite bored with nothing to do and sighed. It looked at the leaves of the apple tree, so tender and green, with delicate veins running through them. Taotao decided to pick one leaf, and as it started tearing it along the veins, it found it quite fascinating. So, it picked another leaf. Before it knew it, all the leaves of the young sapling were gone. In the following days, whenever the young tree managed to grow a new leaf, Taotao would pick it to play with. Before long, the young sapling withered and died. Taotao, filled with remorse, cried as it told Mom what had happened. It said it could no longer have apples to eat. Mom rushed to the spot where the apple tree was planted and was astonished to find a leafless branch. She asked Taotao what had happened, and Taotao confessed. Mom, upon hearing the story, told Taotao, "Taotao, you shouldn't have picked the young tree's leaves. These leaves are essential for the young sapling to carry out photosynthesis and obtain nutrients." "Eat? How do they eat?" Taotao asked curiously. Mom explained, "Well, photosynthesis is the process by which plants produce nutrients, and it requires the leaves. Think of the leaves as their mouths. Just like how we'd starve without our mouths, the young tree also needs its leaves to eat." Taotao listened to Mom's words and felt deeply regretful. It said, "Mom, I know I made a mistake, and I won't pick the leaves off the young tree anymore." Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids.